All right, hello there, and welcome to this edition of 5RoundMMA. My name is Alex Ramirez, alongside is Albert Cita, and we're a man short today. I guess when he shows up, right?
Yep. That's the perks of being the executive producer.
When he
You
shows
can
up.
just show up whenever you want.
Yeah, we were going to wait for him, but time is precious here, so we thought we'd just go ahead and get the show started. A lot going on this week. No fight last weekend, so no fight breakdown. Whatever this weekend, we got Machida versus Mousasi coming up this Saturday, the Saturday after Valentine's Day. What are you doing for Valentine's Day, anyways?
My Valentine's Day was planned around the Machida fight. So
they beat Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
So win or lose, you'd be all right?
Yep.
Box of chocolates either way?
Regardless, I'm eating chocolate if I'm depressed or happy.
So also, in today's show, we also have MFC Bantamweight champion Anthony Birchak is going to stop by and speak to us about his involvement in redemption martial arts. So that should be great. But I think the big news out of this week is that Thiago Silva getting arrested. And,
that he went AWOL and almost shot up a whole jiu-jitsu gym.
And it went from his gym to his house, right?
Yeah, and it's funny because I think they had to call the SWAT team, whatever, to get him at his house and arrest him.
Yeah.
They could have saved a lot of taxpayers' money if they would just called in Machida.
Oh, yeah?
I'm pretty sure he would have went in there and knocked him out and
Again?
jacked him out.
Yeah. Imagine the special forces just Machida.
Yeah, and Dana White already said, regardless of what happens, what's the outcome of this case, whatever, that he's no longer welcome in the UFC and he'll never fight in the UFC again.
And he's had problems with drug tests.
Yeah,
and stuff,
I think he has like 2 no contests because of failed drug tests.
Yeah, like back-to-back fights.
Yeah.
So. But, I mean, so the UFC loses one light heavyweight in Thiago Silva, but picks up another light heavyweight in Anthony Rumble Johnson, making his return to the UFC at light heavyweight,
and
right?
a big return. I mean, he's fighting Phil Davis, who's coming off a win off Machida, even though I don't think he won.
Oh, yeah. You didn't hear anything about Phil Davis for a while, huh? But should be a good fight.
Rumble Johnson's on a 5-fight winning streak, which it's funny because I thought he only fought like 3 times, but
in World Series of Fighting,
he stuck 5. I remember when we saw him at World Series of Fighting, the guy looked like a beast.
Yeah, I think hopefully now he doesn't have trouble making weight at light heavyweight. It's imagine to see that guy that big would cut down all the way to 170. So it's good to see Anthony Rumble Johnson back in the UFC. Should be a great fight between him and Phil Davis. I think you think if he is victorious over Phil Davis, he's in the mix for a title shot.
No, I think he's an instant. I think I'm pretty sure if he knocks out Phil Davis, he's next in line after Alexander Gustafsson gets winner. If Alexander can get past his fight, I'm pretty sure he gets right in the mix.
It'd be interesting to see Anthony Rumble Johnson against John Jones. I know because Rumble Johnson's kind of a joke in MMA just because he couldn't make weight and like how bloated he would look after a fight. But if he's really serious at 205, I mean he's not a great wrestling pedigree, but he has a wrestling pedigree, and we all know his knockout power. So he could be a threat to John Jones.
A huge threat.
Yeah. Also, another big headline was Jessica Ai actually got suspended by the Texas Athletic Commission.
Wow.
Because her fight with Sarah Kaufman, she reports her now that a failed drug test due to marijuana. Supposedly.
Wow.
So,
and Jessica Ai was about to be rocket launched into the women's division.
Yeah, I think she had a bout come with Alexis Davis. So was going to determine the next contender.
And she had that win over Kaufman, which is a huge win.
Yeah, and it was nobody knew what it was, but I guess reports now are coming that it's actually going to be it wasn't marijuana. So also too, and also I think the biggest news this whole last week, or not the biggest news, but what we kept reading about and hearing about was Jose Aldo, Anthony Pettis super fight,
maybe super fight.
Yeah, let me get your thoughts. Should this just be happening already, or because supposedly now it's Aldo's camp doesn't want him to go up. They want to catch weight at 150 because they said, that way at 150
everybody keeps their belt.
Yeah, it's like, what are you fighting for? Just give me your thoughts on is Jose Aldo kind of being scared about that? Should he be scared, or what's he had to worry about?
Well, one thing I thought was already booked from the last event because the way they made it seem, Jose Aldo said yes. Anthony Pettis texted him and said, "Yeah, I'm down," and it looked like it was going to happen. And now we're trying to see Jose Aldo's actually getting the cold feet.
Yeah,
but I don't see what he has to lose. I mean. Dana White said it right there and then. He moves up. He loses. He faces the winner of the interim champion in his weight class. If he wins, he continues on at 155 as a champion. And he even said he was going to pay him championship dollar for that fight. It was, how just because Anthony Pettis, we're going after Anthony Pettis' belt, he would still get paid as if he was the champion. So it's a win-win situation. I don't know why he's getting cold feet. It sounds like a typical Brazilian, to tell you the truth.
A typical Brazilian?
Yeah, I mean, the more I hear about these guys and with the reports on why they lose and stuff like that. I don't know.
They're all kind of sore losers a little
Yeah.
bit. Huh? But it's kind of funny. Like, if he does go up and vacates his featherweight title, Dana White already said that Chad Mendes and Cub Swanson are going to.
Which I thought was a good pick.
Yeah, two rightful. They deserve it. But it's kind of funny. If Jose Aldo loses to Anthony Pettis, he'll face the winner of that bout. The Cub Swanson, Chad Mendes, but there's two guys he's knocked out already.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
so it's a win-win regardless. Like even if he loses to Anthony Pettis, okay, I'm gonna fight some guy that I already beat.
Yeah. So I don't understand what he's so hesitant about. I mean, it's like I think even Cub Swanson said earlier last week that Aldo go up and challenge yourself already. I mean, he's already said you've already cleared out the featherweight division. You've knocked everybody out.
Go challenge yourself for real.
Go challenge yourself. Go get the big money and go raise in the pound for pound standings. But I don't know. Well,
to tell you the truth, it's starting to look like we're never ever going to see a super fight. And the funny part is that I know Dana White has always been critical that he was very upset that they never got the Pacquiao Floyd fight together, and it doesn't seem like it's going to happen, or it might happen still, but they had such difficulty put together. And he said, like, no, when he would super fights present him, he'll be able to get it done. Yeah, and he hasn't been able to get one super fight done. So
well, wasn't like Frank Yeager and Jose Aldo, wasn't that a super
that
fight?
was supposed to be. I don't know why they weren't champions, fight, right? So I guess.
And I'm pretty sure Kenny Florian was and Jose Aldo was a super fight too, wasn't it? But yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah, nothing else we're talking about.
Nah, we have a pretty big segment,
pretty stacked show
after a good interview.
Yeah, so stick around, guys. We have MFC Bantamweight champion Anthony Birchak will stop by, so stick around.
Please visit FiveRoundMMA.com on our social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. FiveRoundMMA.com.
All right, joining us now on the 5-Round MMA hotline is Maximum Fighting Championship Bantamweight champion Anthony Birchak. Anthony, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing today?
Good, man. Thank you for first of all for taking the time to speak to us. I know you're really busy. You got a fight coming up and training and all that stuff, man. I just want to thank you for taking the time.
Oh no, absolutely. Thank you guys. You know what I mean? Without your guys' exposure, I wouldn't be able to let the people know about the causes that we got coming up. My fight coming up. I got a lot of irons in the fire right now, so the more you guys can help out, the better for both of us, man.
That's great. Perfect, man.
Yeah, and Anthony, this is Albert. But before we get into your fight game, we really want to talk about Redemption MMA. Can you let us know how your involvement with this group and how strongly you feel about it?
Just about Redemption?
Yes.
Yeah. So Redemption came along. They partnered up with a couple of the fighters of the MFC, and Master Mark, who's actually out of Phoenix, Arizona. It couldn't have been more perfect. Being here in Tucson, it was kind of just a no-brainer. As a kid, I got bullied. I was like 103 pounds soaking wet as a freshman.
Oh, wow.
I think I was like 98 by when I first came into high school, and actually put on a couple pounds by the end. But I got bullied. I got picked on by varsity football players. I remember getting thrown out in the hallway in just my skivvies. While the girl cheerleader team was coming by.
That's brutal.
But you giggle at it, and I just think it's a different breed of kid these days. And with the inception of social media, bullying is taken to cyberspace, and it's just grown from strength to strength in a very negative way.
Yeah, it's like amplified.
And exactly, you know what I mean. And unfortunately, like I said, it's a different breed of kid these days. Kids are taking their own lives. Kids are, not sure how to, express themselves. Even orientation-wise, it just goes beyond so much stuff that, I feel very strongly that kids need to have a voice these days, especially the ones that, are introverted. I actually have two cool examples. If you guys have ever heard of BJJ Revolution, it's, Carlson Gracie team, basically.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The school that I'm at is Northside Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We had a kid, and I don't know if you guys saw my video post on Instagram and on my fan page, but his name is we call him Razor Ray Sandoval. He's a little kid, small, right? He's probably small for his own age too. He noticed the bully was picking on a couple of his classmates, and he walked right in front of the kid and told him. And the biggest stance with RMA is verbally being able to defend yourself.
Mm-hmm.
He told the kid, hey, look, it's not okay to treat us this way, and let him know that, if you continue to do this, there's going to be, there's going to be repercussions. So fast forward about another week, another BJJ Rev kid at another school here in town, the same thing. A bully was picking on him and some classmates, and this one went from verbal to physical. but at the same time, the bully got physical, so the kid took it into his hands. He took his back, and I think he body triangled him and locked their arm in so a teacher could come and do something.
Wow.
So it was 2 cases of anti-bullying that went down in the same week, and I was really proud that our kids could do that.
That's awesome. Sticking to that, a lot of people think MMA is just something for self-defense. Can you let us know how MMA has really affected your life in general?
I didn't have a hard time growing up. You see all these sad sob stories of, every kid in Brazil has a hell of a time, and there's kids here in the States that that wrestling saved them or combat sports saved them from going down a dark path. In a sense, it did kind of mean, because even though I didn't have a tough growing up, I still got, I still had my fair share of troubles, and even more on into after college, partying and doing stuff like that. And once I had a goal and a drive and something that I wanted to do, which was MMA, it completely turned my life around. You know what I mean? And now being a father and being a mixed martial artist, being a champion has taken on a whole new meaning and has really, steered me in the direction that I feel God has wanted my path to take.
Yeah, I think martial arts, with your wrestling and then the stand-up game, it's very much an individual sport as you find the strength in yourself, right? And that can almost help a kid who is having problems in school or being bullied to enter martial arts and to find the inner strength in them, right?
Yeah, and it's not just about defending yourself. It's about self-respect, you know what I mean? Because kids with no self-respect or no self-discipline are going to let someone push them around, are going to let someone bully them. And I just had this conversation with my daughter yesterday, is having self-respect goes so far, being able to, know your value, know your worth, know that, someone else doesn't have the permission to push you around like that.
Yeah. So I want to switch gears a little bit, talk about the MFC. We had a president, Mark Pavlich, on a few weeks ago, and he was super high on you. He calls you one of the top bantamweights in the world. What's it like working for a guy like that and for a company, the MFC, that's has your back and is willing to push you into that limelight and get you the top guys to compete at a top level?
Oh, dude, it's absolutely amazing. Mark Pavlich, I keep saying this. It sounds like the guy's got just a straight IV of Red Bull just going into his veins all day. So working with someone like that that's so passionate about the sport and passionate about about me and giving me the chance to, one, sign to the MFC, now become his champion, and now defend my title. The way that the MFC and the Pavlich family has treated me, it has been nothing less than gold standard. And it's not only that I can sell the fight, speak well, show up and actually fight it. I'm trying to build my name and be the top bantamweight in the world, not just one of them. I want to be the top bantamweight in the world.
So what's that like, that transition becoming a challenger and working for that belt and actually, having the belt now almost like a target on your back? Do you kind of relish that feeling of being the guy in the company and the world now?
When I first got into this sport, I kept saying that, there's a lot of guys out there with motor mouths, you know what I mean? And I have my fair share of spout offs and stuff, but it's only provoked when someone comes out of line and says some stuff about me that I'm underrated or I'm this and that, and then I just attack with facts, and it's legitimate facts. You know what I mean? Like, a couple of the kids were like, I'm this and that. Dude, you're 16-7, and the last guy you fought was 5-1. Get real.
Yeah.
Like, continue to test yourself. Don't be looking for these little spoon-fed things. I didn't get spoon-fed, and that was one of the things. But I always said that in the beginning was I want to have a target on my back, not because I have a big mouth and people want to shut me up, because I have the title and people want to take that from me.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah,
and sticking to your record, actually, you have a pretty impressive last 5 fights. I mean, you have a couple of TKOs and submissions. What exactly do you think your camp just clicked, or you're in the right mind frame, or is there something that's just working well right now?
I think it's the fact that I consistently push the pace, and I think anytime you can continuously push the pace and break your opponent down, the finish is going to present itself no matter what. I don't go out and look for the finish; I make the finish happen.
And something a little cool I want to talk about here is a photograph of you taken by Amber Bracken was actually featured in Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year issue. And it was actually named one of the photos of the year of your victory at MFC 38. What was that like opening the magazine of Sports Illustrated and seeing your victory in the cover or inside?
Oh, dude, that's absolutely the high point of my career by far. That's the pinnacle right now. I'm looking to surpass that now, you know what I mean? But my little brother and I have such a competitive streak. He's the middle linebacker for Eastern Washington up there in Washington State. And, we always try to compete with each other. The kid's a beast. He's 6'3", 260-some pounds.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. So, we always have this thing, and he has an NCAA bowl championship ring, and I have my belt,
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, dude, I got one thing that you don't got, you know what I mean? And that's Sports Illustrated.
Sports Illustrated. That's a big deal for, I think, any athlete to be featured in that magazine, but let alone a mixed martial artist, because it's a big deal when anybody from the MMA community can be featured in a sports magazine of that prestige.
Well, you know what? I was looking through the whole magazine, and I was like, I'm the only mixed martial artist in this whole magazine, and I was like super excited about that. And then I got to like the last 3 pages, and Chris Weidman's in it. But, you know what I mean? To be featured with the guy that dethroned Anderson Silva, one of the greatest MMA legacies of all time. I'm one of 2 guys in that magazine. That's absolutely thrilling to me.
Yeah. So, Anthony, we'll let you go now. We wish you best of luck. You're scheduled to defend your title at MFC 40 on May 9th. We would love to have you on again before that fight, just to break down the card and stuff like that. We'd love to have you on again in the near future, Anthony.
Absolutely, guys. Hey, listeners, be sure to follow me out there on Twitter at @BirchakMMA. Go to my Facebook fan page, facebook.com/Anthony Birchak. I'm going to be doing a bunch of giveaways for this fight. It's the 40th NFC event. I want to make it big. It's my first title defense. I want to make it big. So be sure to follow me on Twitter and Facebook, guys.
Well, dude, thank you very much, Anthony.
All right, thanks.
Please visit FiveRoundMMA.com on our social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. FiveRoundMMA.com.
All right, welcome back. I just got a text message from our producer, Gegard Mousasi, and he told me to tell you that no matter what, Machida's going to lose this Saturday against Gegard Mousasi. So your rebuttal, sir.
Of course not. Even though, to tell you the truth, I really wish Machida was I really wish I wasn't a Machida fan for this fight.
Yeah, it's awesome fight.
I just want to enjoy it.
Yeah.
But my feelings are too strong for Machida. And
dude, wow, it's Valentine's Day weekend. Strong feelings for Machida.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
You're trying to say something here?
I almost feel like Dana White booked this fight just for me.
Oh, yeah?
He's like, I'll give you a Valentine's Day present. Give us some Machida.
I guess MMA fans know all about Gegard Mousasi. This guy's been around the world.
Especially the hardcore fans.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been tearing up the MMA world for the last 5 years.
Yeah, he's the type of fighter who's always
down to fight,
either a champion or in the talks for a title shot. Even the UFC, he's not really talking about fighting for a title. He just kind of like, I'll just fight. Like he said, I'll drop down to fight Vitor Belfort. Mm-hmm. I'll drop down to fight Machida at middleweight, even though he's fought his whole career at light heavyweight. So it's kind of like, I'll just fight whoever now. I mean, almost like the belts don't really mean anything to him. Yeah. He just wants to fight, which is awesome.
Yeah, and if you really look at his record, he's fought the who at the time.
Yeah,
like he fought people at their prime, not like old all stars or stuff like that.
Yeah, it's 2 elite strikers. We'll talk about the main event a little bit, but this UFC Fight Night, Machida versus Mousasi, is going to take place Saturday, February 15th in Brazil on Fox Sports 1. Also, your boy Eric Silva is also on this card too, right?
Yeah. Desperately needed a win after that nasty knockout he undertook. But
against Stun Gun, right?
Yeah, but hopefully he learned a lot from this fight, and I really still see the potential in Eric Silva. Obviously, I didn't list him to be one of my fighters to look out in 2014.
Why is that?
Because I think he's still 2-3 fights away before going back to where he was at. So hopefully this is just him getting back on the track. But he's facing a newcomer, right?
Yeah, Takanori Sato, who's making his USA debut. Japanese fighter. I know the UFC is desperate to find a star out of Japan, right?
International stars.
Well, especially Japan, right? I mean, they saw what how popular MMA was in Japan, but yet they have yet to capitalize since Pride went under. So, and it's lack of stars, right? You think?
Yeah.
And maybe if you compare UFC to Pride, it's kind of very tamed and boring.
Yeah. The Japanese fans have a different taste.
When you saw how many years of Pride and you want to watch this, it's like
yeah.
It's like being a WCW fan and watching WWE.
Yeah, exactly.
So
hey, that's exactly right.
So also the co-main event, Ronald Souza Chakra. This is a pretty big
huge
middleweight bout, right?
Fight,
Against Francis Cormon. I mean, this fight night almost has like can line up Vitamin's future opponents, right?
Yeah, I think this card, this is all it is. If Machida wins, and by all means, we do have our executive producer just walk in.
Is he in?
No, go ahead, Guillermo, sit down.
On.
We already told the audience you were coming in.
So come on in.
We already got your text message about your prediction, so it doesn't matter.
I got your text message about Machida getting knocked out, right?
Of course.
And then what was the question?
Francis Cormon against Chakra.
That's what it seems like. All this is to set up the winner of the Chris Weidman fight. Because again, I told you, even though Dana White said that Machida gets the title shot if he wins over Mousasi, I think if it's a decision win, I really don't think he gets it. But if Jacare or Francis Cormon win by either knockout or submission, I think they kind of step over.
Yeah. Guillermo, thoughts?
Where are you guys at? I heard Machida's name. I just know if Machida wins,
we're in the co-main event.
No, we're breaking down the UFC Fight Night Machida versus Mousasi. So.
Well, if Machida wins, I think Machida was promised a title shot according to Dana White, so that's what I've heard. I don't think it's gonna happen because Gegard Mousasi is gonna win.
So if Mousasi wins, like we're just talking about how Mousasi.
But Mousasi's a light heavyweight though.
But he's not even claiming like I don't want to. He just wants to fight. Like he's not even saying I'll give me a title shot. He's like calling out fighters. So it's like I think if Mousasi beats Machida, he's like, oh, who else can I fight now? I think you know what I mean. It's like.
Well, I think if Mousasi does win, they're gonna keep him in middleweight.
Yeah.
But if he loses, he'll still look for that next good fight.
Yeah, I think he's like.
But I just think if he wins, he's going to be already talked about in the top 3 in the middleweight division. So they're going to be like, oh, just stick around and you're going to get a title shot.
Yeah, he might say, yo, give me the winner of Shogun and Hendo, right?
Yeah.
Also, Jacques Gray and Francis Cormon, I think is a pivotal bout too. We're saying like this card is going to be basically they're lining up the future contenders for Chris Weidman.
Well, I said Jacare is the next future champ.
Yeah,
so.
I think Francis Cormon actually has a lot of pressure because I think the TriStar gym needs this win very badly. With Roy McDonald losing but he lost his title contention losing GSP. I think they need a top star, and I think they're really banking on Francis Cormon to win. And I think Francis Cormon has a lot of pressure to win this fight.
Yeah, but his fighting style is kind of boring, right? I mean,
well, yeah.
I think with Jacare improving his stand-up skill, I mean, like this guy is not only is he dangerous on the ground, he's dangerous on the feet.
I think Jacare is gonna win, but I'm just saying I think Francis Cormon has a lot to gain from this fight, especially because of his training camp.
Yeah, I mean, the Jacare last lost to Luke Rockhold, who was was a Strikeforce champion. So.
And then now he's on a little.
Yeah, like I said, Jacare also known for submission specials, but also in the past with the Yushin
fight.
He knocked him out. So.
Yeah, because people were saying
and it looked like he wanted to stay standing up.
Yeah, because people say his only weakness was to stand up, and obviously that's not a weakness anymore.
Yeah, I mean, this is gonna be like these are the guys Chris Weidman's gonna face next. I mean, Machida, Mousasi, Jacare, Cormon, Luke Rockhold.
That's why Chris Weidman will not remain the middleweight champion after Vitor Belfort. He'll be Vitor Belfort, but then after that.
The only reason I say he has a good chance of being Vitor Belfort is because it's in Vegas and not in Brazil.
Yeah. I mean, but these are Chris Weidman's what, 10-0, 11-0, somewhere like that? And these are all veterans, man. These are all like guys who've been at it for a long time, different weight classes, fought all over the world, and you got Chris Weidman. They're all just chomping at the bit to get this kind of, in their eyes, a rookie, right? I mean, you may say he defeated Anderson Silva, the greatest of all time, but this guy, I mean, what you think? What you like?
Well, dude, you got to practice your leg checks. That's what I gotta say.
It's almost like it's like all these like for like a baseball analogy, like these world class hitters seeing like this young gun pitcher on the mound.
It's like, do you practice your bunts when you play baseball?
You're supposed to, yeah.
Exactly. You got to practice your leg check.
Since we brought up Anderson, since we brought up Anderson Silva, they did the UFC, the official UFC did tweet out a picture of Anderson Silva in the gym lifting weights. So he is on the track to getting better. You guys are the ones that brought him up. I was just throwing that out there.
And I actually saw like him climbing stairs and doing weights.
And there was one more interesting fight on this card that I did want to bring up, and that was Charles Oliveira. I thought he had a pretty good performance against Frankie Edgar, and I've been dying to see him fight again at this weight class.
He's going to be against Andy Ogle, who lost to Cole Miller. So
yeah, but
Yeah.
I still want to see him in this weight class, and I still think he had a good performance against Frankie Edgar.
yeah,
Well, he always has a good performance. He's a good prospect, but you can already see he's a little cocky.
Yeah.
So he
Which-
gets caught
that's
in
fine.
little what didn't he get caught in the submission move last time in like a knee bar?
I think so. Yeah.
Before
But that,
Frankie
that,
Edgar?
that was back in a 155. I think that's the reason why he dropped down.
So
Yeah, he's lost to in featherweight he's lost to Frankie Edgar and Cub Swanson.
Yeah, but
So, I
you
mean-
got two guys here that,
Yeah.
well, Frank Edgar, I guess.
Yeah.
but-
Well, I mean, like look at his losses. I'm on his Frankie Edgar, Cub Swanson, and Donald Cerrone and Jim Miller.
all high caliber
Yeah,
guys.
Those
so.
are like he's like you tell him
It's almost like what's his name's Max Holloway.
Oh yeah.
it's
Would you
almost-
say too much too soon?
Yeah, it's almost like that.
But I don't know. Speaking of, go back to Anderson Silva. It reminds me of a little bit of Kobe Bryant, right?
Oh,
picking
come
up
on.
picking up toes with his marbles with his toes, stuff like that. The little comeback dunk.
I like
Isn't
it
it?
though.
and just like Kobe Bryant, Anderson Silva needs to give it up because
Whoa,
Kobe Bryant needs to give it up.
what?
whoa! You're gonna see what I like about this is you're gonna see the world's greatest comeback both in MMA and in NBA.
Black Mamba and the Spider come
How
at the
awesome
exact
would
same
it be?
time.
He comes back. Lakers make the playoffs. They win the title.
Is it-
MVP.
It's
That's
this
the
correlation
problem with
between Kobe and Anderson Silva, and then like Blake Griffin and Chris Weidman. You know what I mean?
But
What's hot right now?
Guillermo's exactly the reason why the world is where it's at. You guys don't believe in the dream. You don't believe in the story,
The struggle.
the drama,
The
Come
struggle.
on, yeah.
Sorry, I don't live in fantasy. I live in reality.
But,
Any-
yeah. UFC Fight Night, Machida versus Mousasi, Saturday, February 15th, live in Brazil on Fox Sports 1. Crucial middleweight bouts, I think we all just said before. Going to be breaking down the future opponents for Chris Weidman. So I think Chris Weidman has, if he gets past the future belt before it's not going to get any easier, right? No?
I think the list gets even harder.
Yeah.
Actually,
Because we even mentioned Luke Rockhold
Yeah.
and Tim Bosch, maybe?
no, Tim Boach.
No, Tim
Nah.
Bosch?
The Tim Boach train has ended. Sorry, Ollie the Trolley.
biggest Tim Bosch fan of the
I
world.
know.
No pun intended.
Really? I guess that's for today, right?
Yep.
All right, I want to thank our awesome guest, Anthony Birchak, for
How was that?
great.
That was awesome
dude.
guy. Awesome.
Yeah,
interview.
he was there. He spoke to us about Redemption Martial Arts and all of his stuff. So make sure to follow him on Twitter at BirchakMMA, and make sure to follow us on Twitter at FiveRoundMMA. Subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram, and be sure to check out OvertimeDanSoden.com for weekly articles, editorials, commentaries. Get our thoughts and opinions in the world of mixed martial arts. Whatever we don't have time to spew out here, we write and post them up.
Yeah.
And
If you follow Redemption MMA, you follow the Madhouse on Twitter, and you follow 5RoundMMA on Twitter, you can win a Madhouse T-shirt if you hashtag.
MMA against bullying.
There
So
you
make
go.
sure to check out redemptionmartialarts.com and follow them and see how you can join the movement to stop bullying. Also, I want to thank the Madhouse clothing line, clothes for the fighter and fight fanatic. Go shop themadhouse.com and follow them on Twitter at the Madhouse MMA and enter for your chance to win a free T-shirt. And also want to thank Top Rated MMA, makers of 100% American-made MMA apparel. Go shop topratedmma.com and follow them on Twitter at topratedmma. Albert, take us away.
Real quick, I just want to point out that the WWE Network does come out in a couple weeks.
What does that have to do with
And
anything?
the only reason I'm promoting,
on!
listen,
I actually wanted to start a wrestling
the-
podcast,
the-
to be honest.
The
Actually,
only
yeah.
reason, the only reason
The
I bring
shirt.
that up
Okay.
is so UFC can take a listen. I hope WWE Network makes billions of dollars, so UFC can then do the same thing. Because I'd rather pay $10 a month to see
$50
my
a month.
entertainment than $50, $60.
So you want to see Batista versus Randy Orton
No,
at
I
WrestleMania?
didn't.
That's what
I
you're telling
you.
me.
Said
That's
it.
what you're
I
telling
didn't,
me.
I didn't say that. I didn't
Well,
say
okay,
that.
so you wanna
Anyways,
see-
I'd like to thank our executive producer,
Albert
Guillermo
likes entertainment and
Cita,
chunks,
Daniel
right?
Bryan
Raleigh,
versus
the
Triple
trolley,
H.
our sound engineer, Steven Razo with Razo Records. Thanks to everybody for listening.
Cream of the crop.